Hello reformers and welcome back to a world of ice and fire. Now, let's get down to it, shall we? I've taken all of the lords and vassals from Carthagar's garrison. I actually had 4 of them in there, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be speaking to them, and we are going to be saying, "You have committed high treason." And then we will say, "Today you are lucky, I will spare you your life, but in exchange you must take the black and be exiled to the wall." Then I guess I have no other choice. The prisoner departs. And as you can see, you gain, well, we gain renown, and we're also gaining all of his stuff. That is pretty cool in my opinion. Okay, so let's actually just take a quick look here. Cracked mail and plate. I already gained this from the other guy that was already in the garrison at King's Landing, because I thought, okay, let's just try this out a little bit, see what's going on, and it worked perfectly fine. So yeah, this is actually pretty good. I don't know whether it's going to be insanely good if I were to upgrade it. So I'm actually going to keep these things. I don't know about keeping this at all, because really, cracked dagger, I mean, a cracked dagger is absolutely awful. So, oh, what's this? Okay, let's do that. There we go. Alright, so let's move quickly here, because I want to be a bit careful about what I'm actually doing with my prisoners, because I was really worried that they would actually escape on my way here, because obviously if they're not in a prison tower or anything like that, they're going to have a much higher chance of escaping. So yeah, thankfully none of them escaped. We're gaining, wow, we're gaining even more, 73 renown. This is an insane way of making huge gains in renown. It certainly is. Okay, so considering these things are absolutely awful to sell, I'm basically just going to put them into the discard area here, so I don't have to move at all, and I can just leave them as it is, because I don't want to let time advance at all, if at all possible. So let's see. There we go. I will spare you a life once again, and 142 renown. Wow. Okay, that's kind of impressive. So we're gaining still some more items here. Do I have enough space? No, I don't have enough space for anything else, so I'm going to have to put all those things in here. This is all the same, actually, so technically I could just put one of them in there, I guess. There we go. And we'll do the last guy. Alright, so you've committed high treason, and you will go to the wall. There we go. 84 renown right there. I'm actually thinking that Volantis is probably going to be eliminated right now, so pretty happy with that, I gotta say, because it's about time, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's about time. And I'll sell this, I guess. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, so I've basically just been running around with a small contingent of companions for the moment, and that's basically it. I've been selling a whole bunch of prisoners as well. I sold prisoners in Volantis for about 45,000, so there's also that. Anyway, I guess what I'm going to do now is we will be heading back to Essos. I've sold all of my, well, not sold, but I've transferred, shall we say, all of my lords over to the wall, and hopefully that has strengthened the Night's Watch enough so that we might have a decent, well, yeah, it's not going to be a decent time, but it's going to be an okay time of things when it comes to the White Walkers invading, which is going to happen in about 100 in-game days. Alright, so we got extremely lucky right here. My spies have gone into Norvos and into the nearby castle, so you can see here that we have absolutely everything eliminated here, and we also have a whole bunch there. Now, what I'm hoping on doing right now is taking these guys prisoner. That's the biggest thing that I want to do right now, because being able to send more people to the wall is a really good way to go. So that's what I'm going to try to do here. And if this guy wants to fight me, then that's absolutely fine. He can do that if he so desires, but obviously it's probably not the best idea for him, is it? Anyway, so let's call for a meeting right away, and you're going to surrender. Yeah, there you are. Fantastic. Okay, so they're going to surrender. That's great. I'm actually thinking that I don't know whether I should really take these people, to be honest. I know that this is going to probably sell for a huge... Bearded Bishop, is that going to give me a huge amount? Or Bearded Priest? I think Bishop is higher than Priest, but there's only 40 priests. You know what? I'm just going to take the 40 priests, and we'll see what happens. But yes, anyway, as you can see, I've actually taken a huge army over here, literally just because I wanted to brute force the surrender as quickly as possible, because Norvos, we know what the Essos factions are all about, and in general they are not going to be extremely interesting to fight against or anything like that. So basically the one thing that I want to do right now is just get ready for the White Walker invasion, because that is going to be the biggest thing that we need to worry about. Alright, I probably shouldn't have buried people there, because the guy can probably attack me right now, and that's going to be a bit of a shame, but, well, we'll see what happens. Maybe if he attacks me, then that's just how it is. They might not. They might not. No, they might just run away like that. That's absolutely fine. So let's just go over here. And I really wish I didn't have that many. Ah, okay, yeah, he was discovered, but that's okay. That's okay, because he's already accomplished his mission when we were in peacetime. So I should be able to head in here and call for another surrender. There we go. You will not come under attack. There we go. Fantastic. All right, so what we're going to do now is, now that that is done, I think it might make sense for us to try, if at all possible, to try and capture some of these guys. So we're going to try and hunt them down if we can. We do have a huge amount of people, so I'm pretty happy with that. Let's just leave quickly and press on. I'm pretty happy with this. Alright, so let's give this to Lord Krastos. Kind of a bit of a shame that we were unable to gain people from, you know, on Westeros. I think that would have made so much difference right there. Okay, so let's do this. We have 772 against the enemy 697. It's actually pretty... it's actually pretty even, you know? Pretty even, not too bad. Alright, so let's see what we can do here. 133 each on the battlefield. Yeah, I think we should be fine. I mean, it is just Norvos. I mean, that's the main reason why I'm kind of like, don't really want to go into the siege here, because, I mean, that's the point. As I said in the previous episode, I'm not going to go over it all again. All of my thoughts are in the previous episode. Basically, spies are just a nice option, because obviously it does give you that freedom of choice, and that's what Warband is all about, you know, even in native. Freedom of choice and the sandbox experience is really, really strong, and I think that's really cool. And even though some people may get a little bit upset about the fact that spies are so powerful, I wouldn't say that they are overpowered. I would say that if you use them correctly, they are very, very powerful, as in, you know, utilizing them when they are, or should we say, when the faction is not at war against you. If you utilize them like that, then you're going to have a really nice time. But if you use them in a way where you're using them against a faction that is already at war against you, you're going to have a hard time, because those guys are going to very quickly and very easily discover your spies. And that's the balance. That's the balancing of them, because they are not going to be discovered in peacetime, of course, or at the very least they're going to be discovered much less, because that's been my experience in utilizing their abilities. Whenever I've used them against a faction where we are in peacetime or a truce or whatever the case may be, it has always resulted in pretty easy thing for the spy to do, because of course the enemies, or the soon-to-be enemies, shall we say, are not expecting it. They're not expecting a spy to go in there, because it's peacetime, and they have no reason to believe that it is going to change anytime soon. And that is, of course, the reason why they won't discover them as easily. And in wartime, that's completely different. They discover them, I mean, as you saw there, the castle. I literally just declared war, and the castle wouldn't have even had enough time for the spy to perpetrate his poisoning or anything like that. He basically would have gotten discovered immediately, and then I'd have to send in another one, and there's been times where I've sent in about 15 spies, and they haven't been successful. And I've actually needed to go in, as we've seen in previous episodes, I've actually needed to go in the assault, lose a huge amount of units in the process, and, you know, make them surrender that way, you know, in a brute force method. Because here's the thing. I know a couple of people commented about how powerful the spies were. And here's the big point about spies in general and the use of them. If you're upset about the use of spies, I'd just say, look at realism. Look at how realistic it's going to be. Because let's say in 1500 and something, or let's say in Britain Water, in ancient Britain. Let's say there's a faction that so desperately wants to, take over this other faction, and they have an opportunity to send a spy in successfully, or with very, very good odds of being successful. And let's say then, once the spy has successfully infiltrated, let's say they have the spy has an opportunity to knock out over 400 enemy troops. And I'm talking real life here. Let's say that they have an opportunity to knock them out or kill them or whatever the case may be by poisoning their water source or, burning their food or whatever, The possibilities are kind of limitless here, stealing their weapons or, all that stuff. So let's say that the spy has an opportunity to do that. You think the leaders of, the spy's faction are going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, we're not going to be utilizing your skills because it's just too powerful. Yeah, they're not going to do that. They're not going to say that because in real life it's a life and death situation, and the spy, he or she is risking their lives to get infiltrated into that faction, into the enemy faction. They're risking their lives, and if they get discovered, they're dead. That's as simple as that. And I'm sure many, many spies over the period of history that we've so far experienced have been discovered and, as a result, been executed. And obviously, they know that that is indeed a risk. And it's the same thing with the leaders and the commanders of that spy, because if that spy goes in and is successful in sabotaging the opponent, they are theoretically saving hundreds, if not thousands of troops' lives, of soldiers' lives, because you're thinking about, if you were, like, let's say we're speaking in, World of Ice and Fire, mod terms. Let's say that, we send a spy in, and we take out all the enemies with a poisoning or whatever the case may be, and then we go in and we force them to surrender. Well, we're not only saving the lives of our enemy, which could technically, in real life, maybe foster goodwill if we are not poisoning them in terms of death, if we're not trying to kill them, that is. And then, obviously, we are saving the lives of our own men, which is in turn fostering better loyalty and, in general, fostering the ability, shall we say the idea that we as a leader are wise and very, very tactical and strategic, and making sure that we don't have casualties. Because let's face it, in a real life situation, are you really, and I'm talking about historically here, is a leader, if they have the option, going to send in their best troops? I mean, yeah, they're going to send in their best troops, but are they going to send in their best troops to a situation that they know is going to cause most of their forces to be killed? And that has happened. That has happened in actual history. People have done that. However, they have not had an opportunity to send a spy in. Sometimes spies just do not work. And as has been proven in this series as well, if I attempt to send a spy into a castle and we're at wartime, sometimes it doesn't work, and that's just how it has to be. And sometimes then I do have to solve things with bloodshed and with aggression and assaults and all that sort of thing. But what I just wanted to say there is that realistically, as a leader of a faction, you're not really gonna want to charge straight on into potential bombs, fire arrows, and all kinds of insanely powerful enemy units if you have the opportunity to subvert all of that and take the much needed prize without so much as a breath. And I think that is definitely something that some people have to realize, that generally, if you're thinking about it realistically, then that's obviously the way to go. But I understand that a lot of people wanted to see the King's Landing siege and all that stuff. So who knows, maybe it's going to be taken by the White Walkers if they actually do have the opportunity to capture things. I don't actually know whether they do capture anything, but yeah, who knows. Maybe what I can do is at a later point I can just showcase the King's Landing siege if everyone is, you know, really wanting to see it that badly. Personally, I feel like some of the time I'm kind of not wanting to do sieges in A World of Ice and Fire in the assault sense, because I generally tend to have quite a few issues with them sometimes. Like, sometimes they won't so much bug out, but they will be quite performance heavy, shall we say, because there will be so many units and so much effects, you know, so many effects on the actual screen. So like, for example, you know, fire arrows is not the only thing that you're going to be facing in King's Landing. You also have to face those wildfire bombs and the gold cloaks and all that sort of thing. So there is definitely a I know a lot of people are super hardcore into their realism and everything, and that's exactly the reason why a lot of people like Viking Conquest and Britain-Walder and even A World of Ice and Fire, because even though it is set in a fantasy, well, shall we say a semi-fantasy world, because obviously there is kind of magic, I suppose, kind of, but not it's not widespread, so it's kind of like low fantasy, but whatever the case, realism. And the people that love realism, you got to think about that when thinking about spies. And yeah, that's basically it. So that's basically it. Anyway, we're doing pretty well here actually, and I think we're actually going to be able to take these guys prisoner, or at least I would hope so, because if we can take them prisoner, we can just send them to the wall straight away, and it's going to be super good. I know that actually someone was really kind enough to leave a comment with basically every single, I think it's every single vassal or indeed unit, so, you know, companions and all kinds of things that have the ability to fight back against the White Walkers. And I'm sure that was on the previous episode. If it wasn't, then I apologize, but I'm sure I saw it somewhere. So I do very much appreciate that, because maybe we can attempt to either capture that person, or I think Jon Snow is actually in this mod, so technically we could try and capture him, but he is part of the Night's Watch already, I think, so it actually shouldn't make any difference. So yeah, he's already going to be fighting against the White Walkers. Alright, so there's only 157 remaining. I can basically just charge straight on in here. We've really been slaughtering them without any problems whatsoever, which is kind of impressive, but I suppose it is Norvos. They generally do tend to have very lightly armored units. I don't know whether you've been noticing what's happening on the screen with my damage, but most of the time I've been able to do about 80 damage just with a regular attack against, I mean, look at that. I mean, obviously I have a speed bonus right there, but you can see the absolute oh, what? Oh, wow. I gotta give props to that guy. I gotta give props to that guy. I actually don't know whether my people are going to charge in now. Are they actually going to charge in? Did I tell everyone to charge in, or do they charge in automatically now? Because I think I may have that set up that way, but I was not expecting that. I guess that's justice. That's justice for the Novoshi right there. Absolutely. They were like, why did you talk about spies for so long, you idiot? Yeah, that's probably what they were saying to me, right? Yeah, that probably is that. Okay, well, whatever the case, it's actually kind of cool that we do get to see this perspective here, because we are, well, we're quite frankly rampaging over them right now, and we do get to see our arrows being fired off. And these arrows, wait a minute, are these arrows or are these actually, these javelins? I think they are javelins for the most part. Yeah, our Unsullied are actually using a couple of javelins here and there. But, yeah. I think that guy's got to get MVP. He's got to get MVP for that. surely, because that was fantastic. That was really good of him. And did that make my people panic, actually? It should have. It should have made them panic. And I thought to myself, I probably shouldn't be at the front here. I'm probably going to get lanced in the face. Oh, what happens? Yeah. That. Yes. Well, there it is. The battle has been won. And all of the corpses are strewn about the battlefield. And we're done. We're done. Absolutely. I can't believe that, really. That was absolutely terrible of me. Oh well, we do get to take this guy prisoner. Fantastic. That's great. Unfortunately, one of them did manage to escape, but that's just how it is. That's just how it is. You know, you can't really do much about that most of the time. All right, so I guess I'm going to take some of these guys, and we'll take some of those. All right. So otherwise, we are done. We are done with the Norvoshi, and the only faction remaining on Essos is Cohor. And I'm not entirely sure if I want to do that. There we go. He's gone. Alright. We did gain a little bit of stuff from him. Cracked broadsword. Yeah, that's not really worth it. We've got rotten pork now as well. That's the main reason why I don't really like buying the meat most of the time. And yeah, I think that's it. Okay, fantastic. Alright, so let's have a look. Yeah, so I actually did take the Pentoshi castle off screen because, well, it was just one castle and it didn't really have a fantastic layout or anything like that, so it's fine. Alright, so otherwise, look at this. This is the map so far. And I'm going to show you Westeros in a second as well, because it's pretty interesting what's happening over there. Basically, the Westerlands has been, well, it's been cannibalized, absolutely. Been eaten up by, well, Dawn, quite frankly. Dawn is going on an absolute rampage. As you can see, they have taken Antlers, they took Stony Sept, they took Hornvale, and even the Reach. As you can see, the Reach is coming in here, taking Lannisport, and, well, various other things around here. And otherwise, we have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have a huge amount of castles still remaining. They've got 8 castles still remaining under their control, but these are going to fall extremely fast, in my opinion. Because every single, I don't know, every single, like, 2-3 days, I see something has become under siege by this people, and so on. And it's pretty impressive that they are doing such a good job. As you can see, House Targaryen has Harrenhal, Duskendale, Rook's Rest, Rosby, and of course Dragonstone, and that is basically it. And of course we only have King's Landing. So there's that. But yeah, don't really know what to do now up until the White Walkers come, unless we go and take Cohor. I'm not a big fan of that personally, because that means, oh yeah, we also probably want to retrieve this spy. There is actually someone besieging Norvos right now, so that might be something we want to go and return to and see what's going on there, if anything. Oh, they are actually attempting to take it. Are they going to be able to, though? He's running. Wait a minute, he was actually in there. He was in the siege. He was actually about to win. What? Okay, I'm very surprised, as you can no doubt tell. That is kind of crazy. I would have expected him to continue and complete his siege. He was about to win. I think he probably would have been able to take this before I even came over, but it seems like he's just running away. All right, well, that will be it for this episode. I thank you very much for joining me and for watching, and I will see you next time.